The FBI is now investigating threatening posts targeting Jewish students at Cornell University.
Jewish students on campus right now are unbelievably terrified for their lives.
When someone draws a swastika in a Columbia Law School building, I do not feel safe.
At Tulane University recently, 3 students were assaulted during a rally. It's part of an alarming spike in anti-Semitic incidents throughout the U.S.
Anti-Semitic hate crimes in the U.S. already reached record highs before the Hamas attacks on October 7th, up 25% last year.
The Anti-Defamation League said anti-Semitic incidents have spiked by about 400% in recent weeks.
Anti-Semitic symbols were found in a shopping center.
In Atlanta, an anti-Semitic slogan was projected onto an overpass. In Florida, witnesses said 5 people in ski masks shouted, "Kill the Jews," at worshipers leaving temple.
The student took it even further, saying she wants to kill all Jews and that Israel deserved it, adding, quote, "I believe in revenge."
Evil is not graded the same way when it's against Jews and it's against Israel. And I don't understand that. I do understand it.
What is it?
Anti-Semitism.
Hey there, guys. Welcome to the channel. How true is that, man? Evil is not graded the same way when it is directed towards Jewish people. That is 100% true. And honestly, it's amazing that the people doing all the easy grading in the world, they really don't see it. They don't see what they're doing. And crazy. So, I know that you guys, you're probably absolutely sick and tired of me talking about The View. Trust me, I'm tired of it too. I'm tired of watching it. So I'll make you a deal. When Sonny Hostin stops being openly anti-Semitic, I will find a way to watch less of The View, and will also subject you guys to less of The View. I have some pretty heavy stuff to show you though. Before I do, thank you so much to everyone that's been subscribing and leaving such great comments. Really appreciate you guys, man. Building a great community. If you haven't already, help us to continue to grow. Like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. So guys, take a look at this video. You are about to learn a mind-boggling, mind-blowing statistic.
I know that these topics are not easy to talk about, but we must shed light on them, and I thank you for your presence here today. And on Tuesday, the director of the FBI, Christopher Wray, shared a staggering statistic about the Jewish people. He said for a group that represents only about 2.4 of the American public, they account for something like 60% of all religious-based hate crimes.
Can you guys believe that? Jews are less than 3% of the entire U.S. population, and they account for 60% of all religious hate crimes. That is just probably the most depressing damn statistic that I've heard in a very, very long time, if not ever. Mainly because it just goes unnoticed. No one ever talks about it. And honestly, I think this is going to be a good video to watch. I'm really not sure who this Donnie is. I've seen him. But damn, man, how does a guy like this work at MSNBC? He must completely feel absolutely surrounded right now.
What are you hearing from your friends, your family, your colleagues? How are they feeling? How are you feeling?
Terrified, disbelief, anger. This spike in anti-Semitism, and it's up 400% since 1,400 innocent Israeli children, babies, mothers, grandparents were slaughtered and raped and beheaded and burnt. You have to say that out loud. And as a result of that, as opposed to empathy for Jews, the hate went up. And the level of hatred, and it's interesting, you put in, we used things like anti-Semitic words. Those Cornell thing, what was put on the board is, if you see a Jew, follow him home, slit his throat, we've got to get rid of the rats on campus. And then they went, and if you see a woman, a piggy woman, Jew, rape her and throw her off a cliff. There's a level of...
That's anti-Semitic. Oh,
no, that's worse. That's violently...
Yeah.
Guys, how damn dumb and how freaking tone deaf can Sonny Hostin possibly be? I mean, Sonny, that is not anti-Semitic. That is full-blown homicidal, insanity-driven hate. That is vile. That is hate. That is not what anti-Semitism is. Being hostile or being prejudiced, that's what anti-Semitism is. This goes in an insane amount beyond that. And, I think I know why she wants to believe that that's what anti-Semitism is, because she doesn't want to believe that she actually is an anti-Semite, like she's hearing from people, like she's hearing from us. She wants to believe that her false and foolish moral equivalencies that she's thrown around, that she's been freaking peddling on behalf of Hamas, basically, are actually not a problem because she's actually not advocating for violence in her own mind. So she wants to believe that this is what anti-Semitism is. Anyway, she's an idiot.
Oh,
no, that's worse. That's violently inhumane. Anti-Semitic is, I don't like Jews. Oh, I think Jews are different.
I hate them.
This is a level of vitriol, and I think also why so many of us are feeling something that we've never felt before. I had one of my friends say, my daughter said, is there going to be another Holocaust? And a lot of friends saying, I want to take my mezuzah off, I'm frightened. Because not 1,000 years ago, 75 years ago, 6 million Jews were slaughtered. There were only 15 million in the world today. There'd be 250. And somehow that sticks with you from grandparents and parents from generations. So there is this fear that, whoa, wherever you come out on the politics of this, that there hasn't been this just absolute condemnation of the slaughtering and beheading of Jewish babies.
Well, Donnie, I was talking to a friend the other day about a bar mitzvah she had for her child, and she said 2 years ago we had to do COVID tests in our driveway. This year we had to have armed guards at the party, and I thought,
that's just freaking horrific, man. I mean, you cannot look past that stuff. I mean, how does that just not wake people up? You know, we have citizens in this country, in the greatest country on earth, in the United States of America. We have citizens who are living in fear right now. You know, fear based on their religion and based on their genealogy. They're hiring armed freaking security so that their kids can play, man. I mean, what the freaking F?
We saw in the tape piece on Tuesday, a Cornell student was charged after making deadly threats against the Jewish students there. Cornell did release a statement condemning the threats and the students' actions, but so many others have stayed silent. Does it have to take something so terrifying and extreme to get these places of higher learning, of enlightenment, to lead and to speak out about this stuff?
Obviously, no, they haven't. What could be more terrifying than what we saw go down on October 7th? And my alma mater, Penn, they would not come out and absolutely just condemn it. By the way, you can say things like, I feel for the Palestinians' plight, or things have got to change, or I don't like what Israel's doing on the West Bank, or I believe in a two-state solution. But this organization has one goal stated. We want to massacre and kill all Jews everywhere. And that one of the leaders of Hamas just came out again the last day and said, we're going to keep doing it until we get every Jew. That is something, and yet many people want Israel to have a ceasefire, and I understand that. I don't want to see one innocent civilian hurt. But if there was somebody outside your door that already killed one of your children, and then they're standing outside the door and say, we're not going to stop till we kill the rest of your children, that's where we are.
Yeah, and I think the people chiming in on Free Palestine, not everyone saying that understands what they're saying. There's a big chunk of people saying that don't believe Israel should exist.
That's the difference. It's one thing to say Free Palestine. It's one thing to be sticking up for the Palestinian people.
Yeah, agreed.
But how much of that is more of just, I hate Israel, I hate Jews, I don't think they should exist. And when you see the kind of the violence attached to it, and the scary part, it's young people.
Yeah.
This is all coming from young people. The woke generation, the super woke generation is ignorant about a lot of things.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, you can absolutely say that again. And guys, this is exactly, I think, where the indoctrination instead of education has led us. And it's where it's going to continue to lead us. I mean, it's amazing that the woke, whoever they are, you know, they're all about equity. They're all about inclusion. They want everything for everyone and everything's a human right. But not if you're a straight white male and not if you're any kind of Jew.
That's what I want to ask you about, because you actually answered my original question, which is these calls for a ceasefire. I think that Hillary Clinton said it very well. People calling for a ceasefire do not understand Hamas. But I want to ask you, on college campuses, we are seeing so many young people who fundamentally seem to not understand Israel's right to exist. Yeah. And from where it was birthed from, not even to mention its ancestral roots there. How do we reverse that? And especially when you see stats that show so many young people don't even really understand the full history of the Holocaust.
Yeah,
They don't teach it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't teach
It's not taught in schools. This is what happens when you don't teach history.
Yeah.
This is what happens.
All right, just a quick little walk down memory lane for you guys so that I don't want you to get too confused by the moral authority that is Whoopi Goldberg opining on how young people just need to learn and know their history about the Holocaust. to ensure that we're not raising like a bunch of insane, bloodthirsty anti-Semites that somehow can afford a $100,000 education. Like, dude, that blows my mind right there. Where in the hell have the parents of these insane kids been? How has this happened? You know, were they just not involved in their kid's life? I mean, anyway, I digress. Whoopi was obviously educated about the Holocaust when she was in school. Check out the results.
The Holocaust isn't about race.
No,
It's not about
maybe
race.
ethnicity.
It's
Jews
about
a different race.
But it's not about race. It's not about race.
What is it about?
Because it's about man's inhumanity to man. I was saying you can't call this racism. This was evil. This wasn't based on the skin. You couldn't tell who was Jewish. But it is indeed about race, because Hitler and the Nazis considered Jews to be an inferior race.
Yeah, so there's that. If that's the result of what happens when we teach the Holocaust in school, I think we're going to need a bigger boat.
And thank you for coming on the show. Donnie and I are friends, and I've been on your podcast, and we've spoken recently about this. And I've explained that even as a person of Jewish ancestry, my grandfather is Jewish, I am so reluctant to talk about this and wade into this water, lest I be called an anti-Semite, which in my view is someone who hates Jews. Yes. I would have to hate my family.
So, guys, let's just be clear here. Donnie, he hit on this earlier. Anti-Semitism, it doesn't even really require hate. And really, neither does racism, because that's all anti-Semitism really is. Hate is not what any of that is. You know, it's holding them to a different standard. It's believing that you and they really are different. You know, making these insane moral equivalencies between drugged up terrorists and an army actually defending its people. You know, that is all anti-Semitism. And Sonny, please, please, please stop talking about your Jewish grandpa. That is just about as cringe as if I was to just go around mentioning that I've got black friends. Just stop that.
However, there is a difference between being an anti-Semite and being someone that speaks out against some of Israel's policies. Would you agree with
Absolutely.
that? Okay.
Absolutely.
So
By the way, let's get rid of Netanyahu. I mean, let's start with that. So, I believe in a two-state solution.
He's an indicted, criminal, in my opinion. And I also understand that Hamas must be eradicated as a terror organization, and it committed one of the most heinous crimes against humanity that we have seen in this.
And we'll continue to
And we'll continue to see after October 7th. We know that. They must be eradicated. I am surprised that Israel has, rather than sent in, let's say, special forces and tried to minimize civilian casualties, that has not happened. We now know that the Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza, I know some people are saying that these numbers aren't correct.
Sonny, it's not some people saying that these numbers are incorrect. It's all thinking people. All thinking people are saying that this is incorrect. You're parroting numbers and propaganda from a terrorist freaking organization that uses people like you, just like you, more effectively than even that they use the rockets. These are the same people that told you Israel bombed a hospital, killing 500 people. And when the sun came up the next day, the hospital was still there. And you found out that Hamas accidentally shot one of their own rockets into its parking lot. Anything and everything those people say is a lie that you just spread. You're willing to spread. You want to spread it. You don't even think if it's a lie. You don't care. And it's just another example, obviously, by the way, of your complete and total anti-Semitism.
Over 9,000 innocent Palestinians have been killed, 5,000 children, over 5,000 children, 2,000 women since October 7th. The United Nations is now saying there is already clear evidence that war crimes may have been committed by both Hamas and the Israeli military, and that it's gathering evidence for potential prosecutions.
First of all,
how do we find, Donnie, peace in the Middle East? I know minds greater than ours have been able to figure it out.
I know.
And ceasefire may not be the answer. Is it a two-state solution? How do we stop killing innocent people on both sides?
That's obviously the goal. That's obviously the goal. I'll answer it two ways. First of all, the health authority is Hamas. So whatever comes out of their mouths.
That's why I say
let's require the same way that the hospital got burned and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, I know you had Congressman Kinzinger on yesterday. Mm-hmm. Innocent for Israel to defend themselves because Hamas embeds themselves in front of children some innocent civilians, just like some innocent Germans were killed because the Nazis had to be taken out. So it's an imperfect world. And I do believe Israel, because Israel is a Western, human value, decent civilization overall, are going to do everything possible for their own brand, frankly. It's not in their best interest. Forget from a humane point of view. It's not in their interest to do it any other way, whatever way is possible. If you could do it with zero civilians, they're going to do it because there is, I think, an overall decency to the civilization, and it's smart for them to do it, strategic for them to do it that way. So that's the best answer I got.
And that is a great answer. And Sonny knows that everything he said is true. I mean, she has been corrected on this probably 50 times by now. Hamas attacked and killed innocent people. Israel, in retaliation, gave advanced warning of when they're coming and where they're going so that people could flee. This is not the same. There is no possible equivalence here. None.
Especially if they want to keep Western support, by the
Yes.
way. The U.S. would not be giving them aid if they were intentionally targeting civilians.
But you do stand by the two-state solution.
I believe there needs to be a two-state solution. I don't see any other way. And it's got to be, by the way, though, the big problem is if you take out Hamas, who goes in there? Well, hopefully a consortium of U.S. and Arab countries and Palestinians so they can have their own government. Part of the problem is since they got the land back in Gaza, Hamas has been running it since 2005.
Right.
So
there haven't been any elections.
Yeah, man. So there you have that. Credit, honestly, to the producers of The View for keeping Sonny as uncomfortable as possible. And honestly, credit in a really freaking weird way to Sonny herself. She embarrasses herself every time this topic comes up, and she still just keeps parroting the same insanity. So either she really is the dumbest person alive, or she really just does believe these horrible things, and she's unashamed of believing these horrible things. And you know what? I thank her for that. It's always nice when the lunatics make themselves known so that we can keep an eye on them. We don't want them to hide themselves. We want to see exactly what they're up to, guys. That's just my take. Let me know yours in the comments. And if you haven't already, guys, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. We'll see you in the next one.